As a realtor, I often get asked a lot of questions about the Ottawa real estate market, obviously. One of the common questions that I get asked regularly is about the cost of living. Now, the cost of living is going to vary obviously from city to city and from country to country. And in this video, I plan on showcasing one of the best tools you can use in determining the cost of living as it pertains to Ottawa and how it compares to the city that you're moving from. Hi everybody, my name is Mark Belanger. I'm a realtor here in Ottawa and I help families get in and out of the Ottawa real estate market. If that is something that is interesting to you, I'll leave my contact details below. Let's get in touch and make that happen. Okay, the website I am referring to is a website called Numbeo, N-U-M-B-E-O. Bookmark Numbeo. Numbeo is the single largest crowdsourced database, cost of living database in the world. It's going to break down the cost of living as it compares from a housing perspective, transportation perspective, and even food cost. There's even a gauge that'll showcase the quality of life and quality of life scores as it compares to the city that you're moving from. So I'm really looking forward to showcasing this with you. Let's dive right in. Okay, so now presented on my screen is Numbeo. Again, please bookmark Numbeo. I think you'll find it as a very valuable resource in contemplating if moving to Ottawa is something you want to consider. So immediately you can see here that they have 9 million different items priced in various cities, 11,000 cities around the world, and 769,000 contributors updating these price points in various cities around the world. So what we want to do is we want to highlight right now, I'm in Ottawa. Immediately it presents a screen to me and it'll break down the cost on various goods by category. And in this case, in Canadian dollars, the restaurant costs, so domestic beer, import beer, what does a cup of cappuccino cost, or Coke, water, etc. Furthermore, a basket of goods. What does it cost for milk, rice, fruit, vegetables, apples, oranges, lettuce, onions? It doesn't matter. It'll give you a real-time update from this particular category as well, including transportation at the bottom, utilities, sports and leisure, childcare, and so on. I can tell you with 100% confidence that the one-way bus ticket is $3.75. My kids take the bus all the time. When they ask for bus fare, it's $3.75. I can say with 100% accuracy that that is the current price. I cannot say with 100% accuracy that 1 kilo of onions, as an example, is $2.57, but I have no reason to doubt that it's $2.57. So from that perspective, I think it's pretty cool that they present it to you so that you can determine the cost. Now from here, what you want to do, so before I get into comparing it to different cities, notice at the very top, it showcased what the single person estimated monthly costs are. I mentioned this in a previous video. I did a pros and cons video, which I'll leave a link at the back of this video, the pros and cons, and I had mentioned it was $1,525. That's without rent. This is where I got the data from. Also, a family of 4 costs $5,453 plus $3,000 in rent. So I was mentioning in that video that the cost of living was high in Ottawa, but of course it was balanced out with the fact that our median household income is also extremely high here in Ottawa. So it sort of had a counterbalance, so that was good. But my point is, this is where I got the data from because Numbeo is pricing this out on a real-time basis with people all over the world, pricing it and updating the data. So if I wanted to shop at the local grocery store and I wanted to add the data, I'm not going to do that here, but this is where you would press it and I would say, no, bananas cost X amount. I would enter it in here and it would update the database. What I want to showcase to you, however, is comparing Ottawa to the city that you're moving from. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll just type in our provincial city sister here of Toronto. and Toronto in comparison to Ottawa. You can see immediately rent prices in Ottawa are 27% lower than in Toronto. In some cases you win, in some cases you lose, but it'll showcase that right off the top. And what I really like about this database is it'll showcase from a side-by-side perspective the line items that it's presenting here and which city is more or less expensive as it reads it out to you. So again, cappuccino in Toronto apparently is 13% less expensive than in Ottawa, and that's probably having to do with supply and demand, I suppose. But again, restaurant costs, domestic beer, and so on. The average cost for milk and bananas and everything else, line by line, it'll break it down. Transportation cost, like I had said, was $3.75, while in Toronto, a single fare cost is $3.35. So in Toronto, it is less expensive, but it is more expensive if you purchase a monthly pass. So yeah, clearly, I mean, you didn't know that, but yeah, buy a monthly pass here in Ottawa and save 20%. So there you go. As you scroll down, you can see the utility costs here are more expensive in Ottawa. Kind of makes sense. Rent, let's just scroll right down to that. In that previous video, I was explaining that it's 30% less expensive than in Toronto, at least from a purchasing perspective it is, but even from a rental perspective here, it'll break down anywhere between 25 and 30%. So very cool. A one-bedroom cost in the city centers is 26% less expensive in Ottawa, and it'll break it down, like I said, one bedroom, three bedroom, city center, or the suburbs, and so on. So very cool data. You guys can click through that. Again, numbeo.com. Highly encourage you to do that. It's a really good tool. I also want to showcase here the quality of life. So the quality of life, let me just type in Ottawa again. And as you can see, it'll immediately give you a gauge. It scores a 157.33, pretty high quality of life. It has the index there as well, so it can showcase Ottawa versus various cities around the world. And let's compare this again, much like we did previously. I'll compare this to Toronto. And side by side, you can see the safety index, the healthcare index, the pollution index, and so on. It'll tell you, apparently, traffic in Toronto, for example, is extremely high, bolded in red, where at least in Ottawa it is moderate. Gives you that score in Ottawa is a 157 versus Toronto, all things considered, quality of life score 147. So quality of life is one measure, but then again, you're going to have to measure your income. You're going to have to obviously take into consideration employment and weather and a whole bunch of other things, but at least it's a good starting point to consider if Ottawa is the destination that you want to potentially move. If it is, like I mentioned off the top, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll leave my contact information below. I help families get in and out of the real estate business here in Ottawa, so I'm looking forward to that. If you found this information valuable, or Numbeo specifically valuable, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. As you guys all know, that's how the algorithm works. The more people that give it a thumbs up, the more it is presented to other people. So I would really appreciate that. If you like this video, thank you. I appreciate that. And I look forward to presenting future videos soon. So until then, take care.